have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am super thrilled to be with you here today because guess who we have in the house? We have an anointed woman named Cassaundra Marie. That's her stage name, y'all. You know, people have stage names. Cassaundra Marie is here with us today, and I'm so excited to have you here, Cassaundra. How are you today?
I am so well and so blessed and just thankful to be here with you today.
You can see somebody in the background. They're like trying to act. I'm like, we see you. We see you. That's funny. I'm so glad to have you here and excited that we're going to have this hour together. Listen, everybody, grab your virtual seats and we will get an opportunity to talk today with this talk show host who is literally under his construction. It's one thing for us to think that we're orchestrating this thing called life ourselves, but when we are under his construction, life takes a whole lot of different turns, right? And so we're going to hear what what some of those are today, right here on this show. Let us know where you're visiting in from. I know now the Kim Jacobs Show is streaming around the country, actually in about 100 countries and 300-something million households, depending upon where CTR Media Network has it being distributed. We're also now on Roku and Amazon Fire and Spotify TV, Google, all of those different channels as well. So thank you, CTR Media Network. If you haven't downloaded that app, you can download CTR Media Network, and the Kim Jacobs Show is now under the self-improvement section of the CTR Media Network downloads. All right. So I am having here today this beautiful soul, is what I consider her, a beautiful vessel representing God in every aspect of her life. She's an ordained minister of the gospel, talk show communicator, inspirational speaker, published author, event moderator. You're a lot of factors all wrapped into one. A seminar.
I wear a lot of hats. Yeah.
a biblical teacher, a mother of three with 3 grandchildren, and she's the original creator of the brand Because I Am a Woman Under Construction LLC, and the executive producer and the host of Under His Construction talk show. Welcome, Cassaundra Marie, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much again for having me here. It's truly a blessing. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I get to be on the other side.
I know, isn't it like so weird when you're used to being the one that's hosting and asking the questions, and then it's like, wait a minute, yeah. I'm the guest. How does that feel for you?
I have to remember my position. When you wear so many different hats, that's the key. You have to be able to balance your positions. So preparation helps me with that. So I'm always preparing. Whatever I'm preparing for, that's what I focus in on, Doesn't
that make it so much easier in life when you're like here in that moment for that particular piece of life? Nothing else. Is like, I'm here for this reason and I'm here as a guest. And that's what I'm going to do today is put my guest hat on and only focus on that role, right?
Yes, but that's a learned skill, Kim. That is a learned skill. I wasn't always able to do that. That comes from trial and error of learning boundaries and not carrying one thing over into the other, knowing how to separate those hats.
Yeah, so go ahead.
That's a life experience skill.
Let's go ahead and just dive right into our conversation today. And if you could just take us somewhat back on your backstory and just share a piece of time in your life that help you be in the place where you are today? Because you've been in a lot of different places, ranging from homelessness to where you are today. So just take us back on the journey and
Mhm.
give everybody a little bit about your backstory.
I like to start my journey with me and my mom because that to me is the most significant journey outside of my relationship with God is me and my mother's relationship. And although my life starts with God, this journey starts with her. Um, and learning the things I learned from her. She was a teenage mom. Um, had me when she was a senior in high school. She was such a strong and determined woman, and she
Hmm.
was determined to make a life for her and her daughter. She was the second oldest out of 11 children, 9 girls and 2 boys. And so she was sort of like the surrogate mother of the house. So for her to now have her own child that she has to take care of was something very different for her. She had to switch her attention or divide her attention from being her siblings' surrogate mother to being her very own, having a child herself, being a mother and parent herself. And who
Wow.
knows how to be a parent at 16, 17 years old? Like nobody, right? So her whole season there and life there was all about trial and error. So her best thinking was to get an education to provide employment. That was
Hmm.
her best. Plus, she loved school. She loved learning. She loved books. So, because my grandmother worked in the health field, she always encouraged her daughters, one of you guys be a nurse. You make good money. So my mother was the one to first of her family to get a higher education, a
Okay.
secondary education, and she went on to become a registered nurse. Still raising me. And listen, I was a handful. I was not no picnic in the park, okay?
Okay. So you were feisty,
I was
huh?
walking through the tulips.
That's funny. And that's a shame you
I was
already know you
a
can admit it at
handful.
this age, right? That's funny.
Because my father died, was murdered when I was 10 years old. So he was taken from me. And I felt that emptiness, that void in my life for years, especially when I became a teenager. Where's daddy? Where's the man who tells me I'm beautiful? Where's the man to tell me I'm special and I don't have to second guess it?
That's
Where is the man who just loved me for being Cassaundra? No matter short, fat, chubby, skinny, light skin, dark skin, he just loves his daughter. Where is that man? That man wasn't there. So I went on a search for that man. Although my mother was present and she was in school, that didn't make up. She couldn't be. I don't know why women say, I'm the mother and the father. I don't see how you can be that
right.
because men fill a specific role in specific shoes. And I believe God ordained it that way. We
Hmm.
can't be mother and father. And that role was missing out of my life.
Right.
So I lost my virginity at 12 years old, trying to be grown, searching for daddy, and connecting with older men. I first connected with a man at 12 years old that was 15 years older than me, lying about my age because I looked older. I lied to make myself older. He lied to make himself younger. So we
Huh.
met in the middle somewhere. So I was very damaged even then. I was
Hmm.
damaged even then, and that behavior continued on, and it led me into a drug behavior, addiction behavior.
Hmm.
Because if a man told me I was beautiful and he introduced me to something new, then I wanted to be a part of his world.
Hmm.
So crack, I grew up in the 80s. I was a teenager in the 80s, and that's when crack really hit the scene, was
Okay.
in the early 80s. So that's what happened. A man introduced me to that drug, and I became addicted to that drug and stayed in that unhealthy relationship for 8 years. Had my oldest son in that relationship. Um, and then it escalated. The drug abuse escalated. I'm still in the search for daddy. I'm still hanging on to mommy.
Hmm.
And I still don't know who I am. I don't have a clue who this girl Cassaundra is. I don't have a clue who she is. I look in the mirror. My grandmother was a very prejudiced woman. She was prejudiced against overweight people. She saw overweight people as being lazy and ugly and unaccomplished and underachieved. And she just saw overweight people as like no use for them. And that was
Wow.
just one of her prejudices. And I was an overweight child. So she was very boisterous about how she felt.
Hmm.
She was very boisterous. So you got called, you just too fat. You just too fat. You know, you need to pull away from, you just too fat. You never got called beautiful. You never got called pretty, or you never got a hug saying, I love you. You just was reminded how you look on the outside. So that was my world, growing up. Although my mother did tell me I was pretty. I remember her telling me certain times, she's glad I'm her daughter and I was pretty and I was her baby girl. And it kind of compensated for grandma's daggers. It compensated for grandma's daggers because I spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house. Her house was the family house where everyone always gathered. And I kind of
Right.
grew up in that house in my younger years. So even going back to my journey with drug addiction, so all that played a part. I'm saying that because all that was connected and played a part to this addiction, this monster called drugs. And it was always about not the drugs was never about making me feel good or numb. It was all about making me feel accepted and loved.
Hmm.
So that's what drugs did for me. It made me feel accepted. Here was a group of people that I fit in. Here was a group of people who accepted me.
Right.
And I became a criminal. I became a criminal as a result of that addiction, going in and out of jail, in and out of jail. I lost my oldest son to the child care system, to foster care,
Oh,
because
okay.
of that addiction. He got real ugly for me. Um, the man who I thought I loved, and I'll tell you why I said thought I loved, got on the elevator one day and said, I no longer want you. I'm leaving, and just left. And he was the man who got me addicted to the heroin. So I had that life that escalated from crack cocaine to heroin, where I was stealing and robbing every day.
Hmm.
And so with the pain finally got great enough, and I had been in and out of rehabs for different reasons, but nothing worked. Nothing worked. Um, I've been to more rehabs than I got fingers and toes. Like I've been
Wow.
to more jails than I got fingers and toes, but nothing worked. Nothing worked. It wasn't until I was 30 years old. This is now 15 years into the addiction, and it's August 1998, and I'm pregnant with my second child, where I used drugs through that pregnancy, and the state had every intention on taking her from me because they had deemed me as an unfit parent. And they already had one of my children in foster care, so they had every intention on taking her, but God intervened.
Hmm.
He
Okay.
intervened,
Wait,
and
we
I
gotta
went
stop
to
for a
the
second.
hospital one day.
We gotta stop for a second because I don't want you to keep going into more of the additional part of the story without hearing some other things that's happened. That because you're talking now about your
Okay.
second child, and your second child, I think some things started to turn for you when the second child happened, right, with the daughter. So
Yes.
God intervened. Your
Yes.
faith really started playing a key role. So before you go into that part, because some of the backstory we can't just like go on and just like keep it moving. Like that's right. Wow, that's right. Wow. CTR Care says, "What in the world? This story is a movie, is what it is already." And we need to no commercial breaks, right? So
I had the movie inside me. Yes.
you live in a real life based on true events situation here. You get
Yes.
exposed to
Yes.
sexuality, and I'm just going back here and what you said. You get exposed to sexuality at the age of 12, and that is very early to be exposed to intercourse with a grown man.
At the age
And
of 12. Yes.
in whatever age he was,
Yes.
even though he faked his age too. You get pregnant with your son, and this son that you have gets taken by the system because they feel you are not a fit parent, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
with all of that that's happened, you're seeking love from absent father person that you're trying to prove your worth and your desire that I need a father figure
Mhm.
in my life, and that's why you're seeking all of what advice, before we go to the second piece of your story here, what advice would you give people that are either parents, because this show is about how people are balancing all different aspects of their lives. So you have parents that are watching that are
Mhm.
dealing with children that are secretly communicating with adult men or women, because it's not all girls that's doing it, it's
Mhm.
boys that's doing it too. What advice would you just give parents that are watching today that are dealing with these kind of scenarios of children being promiscuous and seeking adult attention inappropriately based on lying about their ages and things of that nature?
One of the things that I always said I wish that took place, I was a master at covering up. And my mom, when she checked on me, Cassandra, you okay? Or anyone checked on me, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I put on this smile and I say I'm okay, but no one looked at my eyes. So I would say to people, don't settle for the I'm fine. Don't settle for the I'm okay. Don't settle for their facade, their cover up, their masquerade. What I do with my children today is I practice self-honesty. And I try to encourage them to be honest with themselves more than anybody else, even if you can't verbally communicate it to anybody else. Write it down somewhere. Never lie to you. Never lie to you. Because
Somebody
had
type
someone
that.
looked in my
Type that in.
eyes and saw that I was in pain,
I want somebody to type
and
that in
had
the
someone
comments.
looked at,
It's like a delay happening between our communication, but it's okay.
mm-hmm,
But I just want everybody to type that in the comments section. Never
yeah,
lie to you. Forget everybody else. Don't lie to yourself. Somebody type that in the comments section, please. Go ahead.
do not lie to yourself. That's the worst tragedy, offense that you can commit against you. But what I find is a lot of times we don't love ourselves to even recognize the offenses that we commit to ourselves. So when the Bible says, love yourself, love your neighbor as you love thyself, how can I love you when I don't really understand how to love me? So that's why you get treated so bad. That's why I betray you. That's why I lie to you. That's why friendships and marriages, because I haven't learned how to love me. And clearly, I can't love you until I learn how to love me, because I
That's
don't have it to give.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, I
I don't
hear
have
that
it to
often.
give.
I
So
hear that often. You can't give from an empty cup, and you have to give from the overflow once your
from an
own cup
empty
is
cup.
filled up. So good.
So I will again tell parents, sit down, don't rush your children's response. Actually, you may not like what they have to say. You really may not like what they have to say, but it's okay. It's not about you liking what they have to say. It's about them feeling comfortable and safe enough with you to tell you the truth. Because a lot of times children are looking for a safe place, a safe space, because the schools are no longer safe. Programs are no longer safe. Heck, even churches are no longer safe. Children are looking for a safe space to say, hey, I'm hurting.
And now we know obviously that that's just a blanketed statement that schools, churches, and different things are not all safe, and some of them really are
Right.
not. And I do agree that there are situations where the children are not safe because you can have all kind of scenarios pop off. But that's
But
in
they're
the whole
trying to
world.
become safer.
Yeah, because there are plenty that
Right.
are safe
They're
and they
trying
go
to
to good
become safer.
professional.
Like now they have the shooting incident. Mm-hmm. But that's what I find, so I would really tell parents, don't rush the response. Take the time. Give your children your time. Because they want that more than your money.
You
They
better
want
believe it.
you.
That's right.
They
Sit
want
down,
you.
don't rush your children's response.
They
That is a
want you.
great comment. That's a great comment, great advice. Sit down with your children, don't rush their responses, hear them out, even if it's not what you want to hear. We're talking with Cassaundra Marie today, and she's talking about don't quit before the miracle happens, because there are some miracles that do happen in our lives. She's the host of the show Under His Construction talk show. And so you can definitely stay connected with her and be able to follow her on her social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and definitely subscribe to her YouTube channel, Under His Construction with Cassaundra Marie. Now, Cassaundra, when we come back, we're going to take a commercial break. But when we come back, I would love for you to talk about how your faith kicked in, especially when you were getting ready to prepare for your second child. So, everybody, you definitely don't want to touch that.
Yes.
I would say that dial, but how about this? Don't touch the cursor, the key, whatever it is that you use. Don't touch that radio dial if you're on
that enter key, right?
Wherever you're listening, don't touch anything. We'll be right back after this commercial break with more from Cassaundra Marie. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
All right, everybody. So we are back and talking with Cassaundra Marie about being under his construction and not quitting before the miracle happens. So Cassaundra, tell us about your child, the second child, your daughter, and how faith really played a key role in your new part of your journey.
So, what I didn't know, but God knew, is that I was already under, and He was already shaping and molding me. And one day that what I was becoming, what I was being, I would one day become. That's the life I was living. What I was being, I would one day become. I have a daughter, my aunt, who was a former heroin user, who has passed on to glory. She got saved, and she began to kind of mentor me. Because she knew my pain. She was a former IV heroin user. So she knew the pain that I was going through. And she took me to church. I was trying to get $20 from her. And she said, okay, I'll give you this $20 after you come with me somewhere. And I went with her, and she took me to this little church on a hill and set me in front of this man, this black man with these green eyes, who talked about God and faith and talked about trusting God. And my first thought was, why is this man looking at me? And why am I here on the front seat? So all I'm thinking about is what I need to do to get that $20 and get out of there. But so God was in the mix. He was planting a seed. There the seed was planted. And I end up going to the hospital. Yes, glory to God. I end up going to the hospital in my 9th month because my blood pressure was high. Okay. And they told me, they said, oh, well, you have to have this baby today because your blood pressure is so high. I said, I'm not having no baby today. What are you talking about? I got things to do. I'll be back tomorrow. Totally out of my mind. Remember, I'm a heroin user and crack user in the grip of her addiction. You're not about to interrupt my day to tell me I'm having a baby. Like, what? So my mother is there. She's like, don't listen to her. She's crazy. She's crazy. Don't listen to her. So fast forward, they induce my labor, and I have my daughter. And she came out, and they tested her for drugs. She came back negative. Didn't have drugs in her system. Diapers could not take her from me. And I named her Faith. I called her Faith. I was walking down the street one day and I heard this voice say, call her Faith. Right. Faith. So I named her Faith. And 7 days, that was on August 7th, 1998. The next day after I brought her from the hospital, and I knew I had to do something because DIFAS, the state agency, was on my tail. They still wanted to take her. So I went I went down to the county courthouse where my aunt worked. And I said, I need to get in front of a judge because my thinking is I need someone with authority who can tell me that I can take this baby into a program. I knew I had to go into a program by this point because I'm trying to get my son back. Like, I know the ropes, I know the system. So I got myself, but I never fully went through, but I made the calls to get into this program. So the judge stopped all his cases. This is even unheard of. The judge stopped all his cases. He allowed me to come before him requesting to take my daughter into a program with me. There was no DIFAS representation, no state representation, nothing. They called to confirm that I had a bed in that program. The judge came back and said, I'll give you permission to take Faith into that program and your son will be returned to you in 30 days upon review. Woo! I could not believe it because that is just so out of the ordinary. But that's the kind of God we serve. We don't serve an ordinary God. Yes. We do not serve an ordinary God. We God that gives us things on small scale. He's a big God. So he does big things for you. That's hallelujah. Right. Oh my goodness, I'm getting full. He does big things for you. And that was the first big thing, So by the time I went to the program the very next day, it was a 6-month program for women and children. And it was this little raggedy program. You go down an alleyway. It was this old raggedy building. But in that building, my life changed. The first 90 days, I was there just complying because I had every intention on going back to using. I was just getting my kids back. 90 days in, something changed. And I saw a woman there who came there every day. She was dressed nice. She was the counselor. And I heard her story, how she was on drugs. The power of testimonies, how she was on drugs and how she got off. And I said, show me how to get what you got. And from that point on, I jumped in, became interested in life, became interested in my life, and I began to participate in my life. And I served God and I surrendered to God. I surrendered to the program and I learned how to take care and love Cassaundra. Wow. I learned how to be a sober parent. I learned how to wake up and go through a day without using. Not just drugs, but even a man. and sit with me.
Right.
Because
Well,
sitting with me was no fun for me. I
mm,
always had to have somebody there.
mm,
So I graduate from this program and now I'm loving Jesus. Let me tell you, I am on fire for God. I am now a member of that small church. My aunt who introduces me to Jesus passes, she dies. I go into a transitional program for women and children, which is like a year program. And I'm still just serving God with all I have because I am so grateful. I am so grateful that he looked down from heaven and chose somebody as raggedy as me and said I was worth saving,
mm, mm.
that I was worth saving, that
Cassaundra.
I was worth saving.
Mm. Ah, when
So
I'm
my
here,
gratitude was so big until this very day is even bigger.
I can
I
tell.
can never forget because nothing else worked. No
Mm,
Jaheim, no Michael, no Robert, no cocaine, no heroin, no mother, no father. Nothing else worked. No new car, new shoes, nothing worked.
mm.
Nothing worked.
My God.
But when I surrendered to him
Mhm,
and gave God permission to love me
mm,
and
mm.
show me how to love myself, a
Yeah.
change took place. A change
Woo!
came over me.
Okay. Okay.
Whew.
Let's talk about it for a little bit. Some more here. Everybody, comment section, put down
Whew.
how Cassaundra's testimony is impacting you today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. What pieces of her story are resonating with you? What's standing out that you're like, she's speaking directly to me as I'm going through this thing called life. This woman's story is touching your heart in some capacity. And so share what some of those feelings are, some of the sticking points are for you so that you're being able to use whatever piece of the puzzle she's sharing today to help fill in some of the puzzle pieces that are missing in your own life. I'd love for you to be able to put those in the comment section. Listen, one of the things that stood out to me, Cassaundra, that you were saying, I was taking a bunch of notes on everything you were saying, participating in your own life, knowing the power of the testimony, sitting with you was no fun. Just actually sitting with yourself was not a fun experience. What Another thing you talked about is the judge granting your request, even though when you went in, you had the intentions of still going
Mm-hmm.
back to drugs, still carrying on with your back in the day life. What advice do you
Mm-hmm.
give people that they just like, I'm just going to do what I do. They think that's what they're going to do, but then the outcome ends up being something that changes their lives forever. What advice would you give people that are struggling to walk in their faith walk, even because they're still sitting in some of the situations that they're dealing with, but they know they need to take some kind of action? What advice would you give people that's in the moment, dealing with what they're dealing with, the weight of the world, but they need to keep moving anyway? Any advice?
I would say don't be afraid of the interruption in your life. God is a disruptive God. And when he comes to disrupt things. He does not come to keep your status quo, your norm as going on. He comes to interrupt and disrupt things.
Yes.
Don't be afraid of the disruption. Embrace the disruption. Know there is something bigger going on, bigger outside of you behind this disruption. That's what I say. That's what I say. Because every change comes with a disruption. It comes with an interruption. Right in the midst of what you're doing, an interruption, a break takes place.
But then
And
when
that's
that
God in
break,
that break.
when that
Embrace the interruption.
embrace the disruption and the interruption by God. But when that break occurs, you can see that,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, thank goodness that I did go name my daughter Faith, that I went before the judge, that the judge made all of these exceptions for me. then you get to see the miracle working power of God on your behalf. Is that what you witnessed?
Mhm. Yes, and God will, that disruption could look like, I'll tell you some things it could look like. For me, it looked like God removing unhealthy people out of my life.
Mm.
He changed my way of thinking. He started introducing me to new way of thinking, to new way, and replacing those people. See, God would never leave us at a deficit. He's an abundant God. He overflows. He will never leave us in a deficit. So if he takes something away, you better believe something bigger is being replaced. I put it this way. When he shuts one door that no man can open, he will open up another one
Every time.
that no
Every
man can close.
every
I
time.
put it that way.
Mm, mm.
Every single time. So don't run and be afraid of the interruption and disruption.
That's good. I want to look at some of the
Because I'm
comments.
telling you, I had a few of them. But I had learned what those interruptions were. Because I got frustrated. I'm like, why is this happening? Well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Why is this happening? It was all part of me being under his construction. It's all part of my preparation for even where I sit today. All the pain I went through, family betrayal, all this kind of stuff. It's all part of my preparation for the here and in the future,
That's
for
good.
my
Yeah,
destiny,
I
the
agree with
plans
you.
that he has for you and me.
Yes, yes. To God be the glory
Because you
on
best
every.
believe he got a plan for you.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. When I'm thinking about what you're talking about, I'm thinking about the brand that he put in your heart, which is under his construction. How do you feel that this whole journey that you experienced helped to shape the kind of brand you would ultimately have that you're now sharing with the world under his construction?
Um, I pray. First of all, I stumbled onto it through a mentor. She wrote a poem titled "A Woman Under Construction." She was the director of the Women's Transitional Program, and I came to see her one day, and she was like, "Cassaundra, I don't have time for all this." Huh? And she slid this paper to me that says, "I'm a woman under construction." Well, it struck me so hard that I learned that poem from word to word, and I began to perform it as an oratorical and just, empower people with that poem. So that's how my brand. Then she gave me permission to use the title because I'm a woman under construction, because it was so who I was. It was so who I was. Woman under construction is a woman who says, Lord, I'm ready for you to change me. Put me on the potter's wheel. Send me down to the potter's house and let him put me on the wheel.
Yes.
And as the potter is shaping and molding, you come out with this desired outcome that was all part of God's plan from before the foundation of the world, while you was yet in your mother's womb. That is the result.
That's
That
good.
is the result. But of course, we don't always see the bigger picture. Sometimes we're so caught up in pain, we don't recognize when to praise.
Mm, mm, mm.
Because with the pain, this world, Americans don't like pain. They give
Right.
us all kind of pills for pain. We have all kind of everything for pain. We are the most low tolerant people I ever seen in my life. Like, we have no tolerance for pain at all.
No,
You give me
no.
a pain, I'm taking a pill. This feels uncomfortable, I'm taking a pill. Like
Mhm.
the doctor, I don't feel, here's a pill. Like, we're the most pill-filled people I think
Peel,
about.
peel. That's funny. Interesting philosophy.
Well, why not let God be that pill?
That's good.
That's what I say for me. That's what
Mm.
came for me.
So under his
That's what it
construction,
came for me.
talk show, and you say in 2025 is that standing in position to receive my possessions. And it's every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Cassaundra Marie under his construction talk show. Y'all make sure you tune into it on YouTube. And you can also follow her on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. So this is major. So what impact do you want your talk show to have on your audience?
I want my impact to have on the audience that we could deal with truth and still survive. Like the truth will not kill us. The Bible said the truth will set us free.
Set us free.
It will not kill us. And so that's why the topics we have on under his construction are topics that the church tend to shy away from. So we talked about everything from sex in the kingdom to divorce in the pulpit, moving past church pain. We talked about first ladies, their real position. You know, we talk about things that will help a person grow and develop in their daily walk with Christ.
That's good. Good.
When you would become a light. When you step out your door, what presentation are you giving to the world?
Right.
Because the world is watching.
Always.
The believer and the non-believer, they're watching. And they're looking for answers. They're looking for answers.
That's good.
So that's why this show is so important, because we help people just to deal with you, to embrace your daily walk. Try to give you tools that will embrace your daily walk, to strengthen it, it.
So strengthening that daily walk. How do you encourage people to?
And our guests are just spirit-led folks. Yes, you have to be saved, but spirit-led people.
I think there's an echo.
No, I'm sorry, what you say?
It's a delay because every time I say something, you're not hearing
it. It is. I'm trying to like.
It's all good. It's all good. I told people on international broadcasts there are different glitches and things that happen. So be it. You just keep right on going and work through it. And even CNN and all these national broadcasts have glitches. So be it. But anyway, I was trying to determine, how do you encourage people to change their mindset? Because I think a lot of this starts in the mind. What do you do with under his construction tips and strategies for people to really change their mindsets?
I could never change my own mindset. I had to allow a power greater than myself to change my mindset. I wasn't strong enough or smart enough or whatever. I couldn't change my mind. I didn't create me. I had to go to my creator, the one who created me, and ask him to change my mindset.
Yes.
Because I'm not able to do it. I can't change my mindset no more than I can change your mindset. That's why it's dangerous to judge people.
That's right.
It's dangerous to judge people.
That's good. That's so good.
Because you don't know how God is working on that person.
That's right. And we don't know why they're in the season that they're in. And I often tell people, especially being the balance doctor, that we do not want to look at somebody else's life and assume that just because it looks like they're not in sync from our perspective, that may be exactly where God has them for that season for a specific reason that he's taking them on their journey. And so I agree wholeheartedly with you. Now, I know that you infuse a lot of biblical principles in your training and in your teaching. So I want to make sure that people, when you're dealing with incorporating the biblical principles, how are you still making it where it's practical and natural, if that makes sense, for people to be able to benefit from what you're talking about?
I like what Paul said. Paul said, keep it simple, keep it childlike. So it's application is simply as being kind. I'm going to the Walmart. That's a place to make it applicable, to make it lifelike. Someone jumps in front of you, you could be kind. Okay, ma'am, you can go ahead. That's a principle. That's a characteristic. That's a fruit of the Spirit. That's a characteristic of God. Just being kind. Just being, so we don't have to make things as deep and difficult. You know, it's not that deep. It's not just that deep. You know, even through our everyday walk, the way I learned to treat Cassaundra is how I'm gonna treat you. And the better I treat me, the better I'll treat you.
I love it. I love it. I just love,
That's
even though
what
we're
I
in a
say.
delayed conversation, it's like, this is a great delayed conversation. It's like, pause, think about it, apply it. This is some great life lessons that you're hearing from this servant leader, Cassaundra Marie. And I actually said servant leader because I would love to hear how you ultimately became the kind of servant that you are in this new walk of your life versus where you were serving some other
Oh
things that
boy.
were keeping you back.
Mm-hmm.
How did you become this version of the servant leader that you are today?
Well, my children's father, he got clean. And I thought because he got clean and I was saved, that was my husband. Didn't really check in with God, just kind of assumed that was my husband. It just looked like he would be the right person, but was not. And I ended in divorce. And I've been married twice and divorced twice. And it's all because I didn't allow God to choose. I kept choosing for myself. And I never made God my first husband. So that, as a single woman of God, that's the first thing I would say. Let the Lord be your first husband, because God will always, he's not going to let, he loves his children so much that he's not going to let anyone hurt them. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't serve the bigger picture, if it doesn't serve his glory, if it doesn't serve the destiny, he's not going to let that person hurt you. So if an event takes place, say when family betrayal took place, you know, and that's what kind of led me. So fast forward, I became a homeowner. Our house was built for me from the ground up. I was married. We now had this happy home. I became a homeowner. Next 15 years later, I hear the Lord saying, follow me. Because somehow in there, I got out of after divorce, I got out of the will of God. And I began to lean more on my own understanding and do things Cassaundra way. I was being seduced back into an old world, an old way of thinking. And I heard the Lord say, follow me. And I left my home and I just took my child and I moved to the South. I relocated to Georgia. Okay. Now, I didn't know a soul in Georgia. I didn't have a job, apartment, or nothing. We stayed in a motel for the first week. When I tell you, God brought me there and began to shape and form and strengthen our relationship in such a way that my eyes could never seen and my ears would have never heard. Okay. In such a way. He gave me such an appetite for him that I began to study his word and I began to have a desire to learn more. So I went to the School of Divinity. Okay. I can learn more. Just get deeper. So I'm digging deep. I'm digging deep in him, in him. I find that I'm spending all my time with him. Mm-hmm. I'm not desiring men and outside things like I used to. This appetite for him is like better than a good porterhouse. Okay. It's so delicious. Like I can't get enough of it.
Right. Very satisfying.
I can't get enough of it. And that's what you see on me today. You see my appetite for God. That's what is presented here today, my appetite for God.
Okay. Wow. You know what? This is so inspiring to me and uplifting and
Thank
And
you.
I'm trying to determine, how do you, the passion that you have bottled up, knowing that you're under his construction, you're a servant leader, you love God, you love using the basic principles to implement them in your everyday walk. How do you get that rubbed off on other people that are watching today? Any ideas on what people can do to not give up before the miracle happens? Because that's today's episode. How do you encourage other people not to give up, stay the course until the miracle happens? Any tips?
Just be yourself. See, fruit never hides itself. Fruit is always visible. So when people see your fruit of gratitude, or fruit of kindness, or fruit of love, they'll be attracted to it so much till they'll want to bite out of it. So I'm just living every day. I'm just living every day. And as people become witness to my fruit and become attracted to my fruit begins to influence them. I may never even know about it. They may never even tell me. But I don't need to know, because God knows. And what's done in secret, he will reward openly. So I don't need to know. All I need to do is stay the course. And it doesn't feel like a job, because I'm walking in love.
That's right.
So it's nothing I have to make up or aspire to or work at. It has to be who you are. And it really is who we're made in his image. So it's who he created us to be. It's just sin takes us away from that.
That's good.
And I fall. I make mistakes. Boy, do I make mistakes. I make some mistakes. Let me tell you, I mess up bad sometimes.
We all do.
But I have, listen, I don't beat myself up. Lord, I repent, forgive me, and I do better. We all have the burden of doing better. Mm-hmm. We have the burden of doing better. You don't have the luxury of just saying, I'm just regular old folks and this is who I am. And that's why I don't like that saying, it is what it is. And this is what it is. I don't like that myself.
It's like, no, how about it should not be that way, and we can change it according to what God has in our lives, right? So that's important. Big time. Yeah.
Very so good. I would say, let your fruit be your answer to the world, like be your mark on the world.
That's good. All right. So now you're also a minister of the gospel, and you are a leader. And how has that further shaped who? Because you have some great things getting ready to pop off here. So I wanted to put a picture. You have quite a few things happening. You're getting ready to preach your initial sermon. So talk to us about that.
Yes, I'm getting ready to preach my initial sermon at Kingdom Vision Worship Center. My bishop is Archbishop Harris Clark, and over here in Anderson, South Carolina. And I'm very excited about what the Lord is doing. And I am a teacher at heart. I'm a biblical teacher at heart. I'm a student of the word, and I like to share that word. I like to share that word in a teaching form. That's how God gave it to me. That's just how he gave it to me. I never saw myself as a preacher. It's still blowing my mind to even hear the word preach with my name next to it. But I tell you this much, Kim, when God has assigned your name to something, that's why if I have to end with anything, I will share with this. Know your name. Know your name, because know who you are and who you belong to. Know your name, because it's power in Jesus' name. And then as you connect with him, you become, you get to share in that power. Mm-hmm. You get to be a part of that power. So know your name, because when he assigns your name to something, you got to be able to recognize your name. Oh, that's my name over there. Oh, that's my name over here. You got to be able to recognize your name. Know your name. Know who you are. Know who you belong to. And you would never have to worry about feeling unworthy or undervalued ever again. There is nothing regular about you. We are a peculiar people. That means uncommon. There's nothing ordinary about you. You would never be regular again a day in your life.
That's good.
We are peculiar people. That means special, specially made and created. That's who you are. You're something to be. Look, they better watch out when they come for you. When they put their name on you, they better be careful.
That's right.
Because your daddy don't play that. He loves his children. And he said, make room for my vengeance.
I love this.
So you better watch out when you put your mouth on God's children.
That's good.
God don't play with his children. He loves his children. He loves his children. We are, out of everything that God created in the world, we are the most valuable creation. He said we're just a little bit lower than the angels. And he crowned us. Hey, hallelujah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Now, you being a mom and a grandma, your mom, you're a grandmom too. Now, how has that even influenced more of what you're doing and your commitment to be all that God created you to be, Cassaundra?
You know, it's funny because my kids watch me. My oldest son is in New Jersey with my 3 grandkids. And so I don't get to see them as much as I would love to. But I have the other 2 here with me, Faith and Naeem, and they watch me. They see how I study. They see how I spend time with the Lord. They watch how when someone offends me, how I respond to that offense. They watch even that. And they often imitate it. They imitate it. So my presence here, and then, you know, so they feel safe coming to me, talking to me about anything. Even sometimes I don't agree with what they're doing, but you know what? I don't have the right to take it from them. I allow you your experience. I get out of God's way and say, have your experience with the Lord.
That's good.
Have your experience with God.
So
I just want to be a light. I just want to be a light in their world, in my grandchildren's world. And I just want to be a special light for them.
That's good. Well, you know what? I did a sermon. I carry this around with me all the time because I did a sermon talk because I'm a new pastor in Charlotte, North Carolina at Promise Fellowship Church. So just in case you all are ever in the Charlotte surrounding areas, I'm literally a new pastor here in Charlotte. And our location is over at the Brownstone Signature Events, right in the Napa Auto Parts Plaza, but in Harrisburg, North Carolina, on Sundays at 10 a.m. So come and visit us. But listen, one of the things that I talked about was how important it is for us to let our light shine. And so I had actually did a sermon, and I have a light here, and you probably can't see it, but as far as the light, I carry it. And sometimes in my pocket, I'll have to rub that light because of situations and circumstances that be like trying to throw you off. You'd be like, Lord, let my light shine in this situation. But we should really let our light shine like a city on a hill, that people can look up and want to know more about Jesus and how they can be more like this being that we say we serve. And so I just think that it's so important, everything that you're sharing here today, that we let our light shine in season and out of season, when people are watching and when people aren't watching, so that they can have that example of what Christ is like through us, you know? This is good.
Through us. Amen. Amen.
Judy.
So, you know, if you're in need of a speaker or preacher, give me a call.
Let's
I would love to come and share about the Lord. I love to share about the Lord.
Make sure you all connect with Cassaundra Marie right on her social media. Is it Cassaundra Marie on social media?
Yes, it's Cassaundra Marie. It's Under His Construction on Facebook.
Okay.
On Facebook,
Under his construction.
And Cassaundra Ratliff.
Oh, Cassaundra
It's
Rattler?
easier just to go under his construction. Ratliff, Ratliff, because I have 2 pages there. But you can always reach me under his construction. Okay. You can always go to under his construction. And my number is a public number, 848-209-7922.
808?
848.
Okay.
209-7922. If you just need an ear, you want prayer or anything, you may be ready to give your life to Christ. You don't need a big audience for that. You know, if you find you in need of someone, give me a call.
Yes, I love that. I love that. You all, especially that are listening on audio podcasting platforms, is 848-209-7922. 848-209-7922. That's correct, Cassaundra?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. She's willing to pray with you. She's willing to just be a listening ear. You may be thinking that the whole world is against you and you're on an island by yourself dealing with drug addiction, sexual immorality, whatever it is that you are personally going through and dealing with. There's somebody that's been there and done that, that's willing to hear your story and to pray with you. Cassaundra Marie, you can't get any better. She's saying, hey, I'm here for you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to hear you, to pray with you, and get to the other side. Look at that.
That's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's it.
Woo! I'm just so thorough. I'm full. Tell you after. Okay, I'm reading the private comments. But you know what? Whatever you're saying today, guess what? My assistant backstage, Mackenzie, said I have a praise report to share with you after the show, and she's putting that over here in the private comments. But guess what? We are overcome by the words of our testimony. So I'm so grateful that whatever is happening here today, that even a praise report is coming from internally within the Kim Jacobs Show from one of our one of my assistants with the program. So thank you so much for letting your light shine today, Cassaundra.
Praise God.
Mackenzie, pop some more comments real briefly. We're getting ready to get off this show, but okay. Judy, hey Judy, how are you? She said we should all be a light. You are truly a light, Judy. So thank you for being on here today. If y'all don't follow Judy Ambrose James, make sure you take a moment to do so. Rock and Curvy says, hey, very powerful, very inspiring. Thank you for this show today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story. Any other comments? Let the Lord be your first husband. Love it. Love it. Your comments are really resonating with people today. A purpose-driven life. So true. So true. Stay connected, everybody, with Cassaundra Marie Ratliff.
Yes.
Under his construction on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Her phone number is 848-209-7922. And I want to take a moment to recognize just a few people that are contributors to the Kim Jacobs Show. I told you all, as y'all contribute and become partners with us, that I will periodically just take a moment and give shout outs, and I do not take it for granted. Let me pop up here. If you haven't become a partner with us here on the Kim Jacobs Show, the only way we can have our program come on Monday through Friday with incredible guests like Cassaundra Marie, who's here pouring her soul out to you, is by having community contributors contribute to our broadcast. We are not funded by any other sources other than you all. So it doesn't matter what the amount is. Every amount allows me to have the team members that we have, the flyers, the templates, the streaming platforms. All of these things cost significant amounts of money. And the only way we can even keep our program. It does, right? And so you're our production. Yeah, you're the people that are helping us be technically syndicated is by contributing to our program. So take a moment, if you would, and send a cash app to Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can do PayPal. Some people use PayPal, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can also go right to Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. We received a Zelle yesterday. So Zelle definitely works, 704-962-7161. Or you can also become a Patreon member at patreon.com/The Kim Jacobs Show. If you haven't joined our Mother Dreamer movement, it's motherdreamer.com/join. And so a quick shout out to Cynthia Long. Thank you so much for your contribution to the Kim Jacobs Show. Joy Restored Outreach. Thank you so much for your contribution recently. Sharon, thank you for being one of our Patreon members. And sometimes I'll put private information over there that no one else in the public gets a chance to hear. And so right now I have the Patreon members giving me some advice. I need advice too, right? So they give me some feedback. That's for our private community. Love, thank you so much for being one of our Patreon members. Aaron Don, thank you for being a Patreon member. Tashay, thank you for being a Patreon member. Ella, which is my mom. Mom, you're a Patreon member. Thank you. Carrie Ann, thank you so much for being a Patreon member. Allison, thank you for being a Patreon member. Frank, thank you for being a Patreon member. Sean, thank you for being a Patreon member. And so just a quick shout out, just to say thank you for contributing to the Kim Jacobs Show. We'll keep the thank yous going throughout the year. And again, if you, just keep showing support and love. Any closing comments, Cassaundra?
Listen, no matter what you do, continue to let God keep you under his construction. Continue to let him shape and mold you for his desired outcome.
Yes.
For his desired outcome. Because he got one for you.
Yes.
He got one for you.
And how can they get your book? Because I am.
Because under construction. Yes, we are still selling on Amazon. We're still selling on Amazon. You can get it through Amazon, or you can get it through me by simply cash apping me and leaving your address, and it'll be at your door in 3 days. And it's a great read, if I must say so myself. It's very inspiring and encouraging, and it's the truth. It's the truth is what it is. It's the truth.
Make sure you
it's more of how God brought me under his construction.
I love it. Make sure you all text Cassaundra Marie and get her Cash App, and make sure you give her your address, 848-209-7922, 848-209-7922. Let her know your address, and she'll give you her Cash App, so that if you want to get an autographed copy from her, she'll send it directly to you, but she needs your address. Again, that's Cassaundra Marie, 848-209-7922, or you can go to Amazon and get a copy as well, Because I Am a Woman Under Construction by Cassaundra Marie Ratcliffe. Okay, so you definitely want to get a copy of that book. And let me see, I saw one more thing over here. What is award-winning talk show?
We won an award this year. Yes, we won Podcast of the Year.
I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Yes, we won Podcast of the Year.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of
Time
you.
Magazine. Yes.
And I saw that. Okay. And then we know that you have your initial sermon coming up on Sunday, February 9th. And so I'm excited for you.
Listen, our season 5, we will be debuting February 22nd with a live broadcast, live audience here in Anderson, South Carolina. You can look on my page and hear more about that. It's a live studio audience broadcast, February 22nd. February 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you get to be a part of a live audience of the Under His Construction talk show and just have a great time with us in the Lord.
I'm so excited, y'all. It's so many things for you to stay connected with Cassaundra Marie. And literally, we could go on for a whole nother episode because there's so much more to her story that we didn't even get to talk about. So we can come back and do a part 2. I want to let you know, too, that tomorrow we have a guest coming on called Kay, and she is going to be talking about resiliency at its finest. You don't want to miss that episode because we are going to deep dive into what it means to be resilient and how to do it at its finest. On Friday, we have our Freestyle Friday experts, and we're going to be talking about how to accomplish your goals in 2025. You don't want to miss our Freestyle Friday experts, which is going to be our sunshine expert, Athena Robertson. We're going to have our mental health expert and talking about how we're going to mentally accomplish some of these goals and achieve them and keep our mental health intact, Natasha Halliday. We have Sharon D. Brown, who is the person that helps us with self-care as an entrepreneur from a financial perspective, as well as from an overall self-care perspective. So you name it, it's going to happen on Friday, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. And I already told you on Sunday, make sure you come out. If you have not visited Promise Fellowship Church, we're standing on the promises of God right in Harrisburg, North Carolina.
Yes.
It's about 10 minutes from UNC Charlotte. I know this show airs in countries, so you're probably not all near Charlotte, North Carolina. But if you are, make sure that you come and visit with us on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. And we do have a Bible study online every Thursday at 7 p.m. So if you are hearing this as a repeat of some sort, know that on Thursdays at 7 p.m. we have online Bible study, Promise Hour, right on Promise Fellowship website and Facebook page. All right, Cassaundra, you are a blessing. I enjoyed it.
Praise God.
I don't want to get
Thank you
off.
so much for having me.
I don't want to get off. Okay, Dr. Shayna, Courtney. Hey.
Doesn't the hour go by fast? It goes by very fast.
Oh my gosh. Okay, y'all, we have to go. Love you all. Thank you, Mackenzie backstage. Thank you, Cassaundra. I love all of you. I'll see you again Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday.